The Seven Wonders of the Ancient World. And one thing I remember I've heard is that the Colossus of Rhodes wasn't actually as big as we portray it on videos and simulations and pictures. But still, I wish I was alive to fucking see it.
This is the Colossus, a giant
Yep.
bronze statue standing at the entrance of the Greek city of Rhodes. Built over 2,300 years ago, it was an incredible achievement for the time. However, it was only standing for 56 years before tragically collapsing. In this video, I explain all 7 wonders of the ancient world, all from the incredible hanging gardens of Babylon to the enormous lighthouse of Alexandria, and of course,
I didn't know about the lighthouse. I thought it was the
the
library.
amazing story behind the Colossus of Rhodes, a story including 900 camels and an incredible amount of money. But first, let's talk about the only of the 7 ancient wonders of the world that's still standing. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest structure on Earth for over 3,800 years, from when it was built in 2600 BC to the Lincoln Cathedral was finished in 1311. The pyramid was built with approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing between 2.5
Meanwhile, we construct houses out of wood these days.
and 15 tons. The lightest stones weighed roughly the same as a Tesla Cybertruck.
Holy
The pyramid
shit.
is nearly 147 meters high and covers more than 50,000 square meters at its base. But the pyramid wasn't just massive, it was built with incredible precision. All made
Is
of
this at the top gold? I didn't know about this. So why isn't it? Is it gold or is it something else? Because if it was gold, so that means that it was stolen by, centuries and years, but till this point. That's why it has no gold right now.
in
Is that
Egypt
it?
are actually aligned to true north. For the Great Pyramid of Giza, each of its 4 sides faces north, south, east, and west by less than 1/10 of a degree. Some stones inside the pyramid are so precisely cut that a sheet of paper cannot fit between them. But how did they build such an incredible structure like this 4,600 years ago?
Yeah.
First,
How?
what is really the ancient wonders of the world? When referring to the ancient wonders of the world, most people refer to the list from 1572, with detailed illustrations of each wonder. However, this is their illustration of the pyramids, and as you can see, it's not really accurate. They clearly based it on old
No, it's not.
descriptions.
This doesn't even look like. This doesn't even look like it's in Egypt. This doesn't even look like it's a desert area.
Not first-hand reports.
Yeah.
The list actually traces back over 1,500 years before that. The document is called Laticuli Alexandrini and included multiple lists, such as the 7 tallest mountains, 7 greatest generals, the 7 greatest artists, and of course, the 7 wonders of the world. It originated around 200 BC in Alexandria, the center of knowledge and the capital of Egypt at the time.
Yeah, the library.
Back
This
in
is what I
Giza,
was expecting to be one of the 7 ancient wonders.
Pharaoh Khufu ordered a tomb to be built. It was going to be the greatest and most secure structure ever to exist. A place for Khufu's body to rest and secure his treasures for eternity. He gathered 25,000 workers and started the construction that would take 20 years to finish. Inside the
20 years? How many of those workers actually survived?
pyramid, multiple tombs were built at different levels, and the biggest of them was the King's Chamber, the final resting place for Pharaoh Khufu. But how did they build the Great Pyramid of Giza? Multiple theories exist, but no exact method is agreed upon. This topic could be an entire video.
Bro, it's aliens. It has to be. Aliens have been watching us from above the sky for thousands of years. And maybe they are actually the ones to blame or thank for us living in this modern era. It's just an interesting topic I want to talk about. It doesn't have to be true, okay? I don't give a shit. It's
its
probably
own.
not true.
So for this video, I'll focus
I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
on the most widely accepted theories. First, they'd need the materials to build the pyramid. A huge amount of limestone and granite was needed. Most of these stones came from local mines, but inside the King's Chamber, a different kind of stone was used. The King's Chamber was built using red granite, with blocks of stone weighing up to 80 tons each. That's roughly the weight of a Boeing 737. Not only did the Egyptians have to move these stones with human force, they imported them from the opposite end of the Nile River. The red granite came from Aswan, a city over 800 kilometers away. That's nearly the same distance as driving from Los Angeles to Las Vegas and back again. These massive stones are believed to have been transported along the Nile River. Once the ground
Makes
was leveled,
sense.
construction could begin. The most common theory is that the Egyptians built massive earthen ramps, either straight ramps or ramps with angled turns. Other suggestions include this ramp, built around the pyramid itself. The ramps could be no more than 8 degrees for the workers to comfortably move the stone blocks using ropes, poles, and sleds. However, none of these methods alone could have been used for the entire construction. The ramps would need to be impossibly long or too steep to reach the
Yep.
top.
I've heard
Another
of
theory
this.
is that the Egyptians leveraged the Grand Gallery to help them move the stones weighing up to 80 tons. By building a straight ramp halfway up the pyramid, the workers created a path for the heaviest stones. They connected each stone to a counterweight inside the Grand Gallery. This would allow the Egyptians to leverage physics, making the heavy
But
blocks
also, the taller the pyramid gets, this you just have to add more and more gravel or whatever the hell this is, dirt, right? It's just a hassle. I don't know. I mean, this whole build was a hassle anyways.
easier
I'm
to
not
move.
making sense.
No single explanation has been proven, and the mystery is part of what makes the pyramid so spectacular. Of all the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid of Giza is the only one still standing.
I wish I had a time machine. I don't care if I would ruin future, because I'd probably die in the past, but I want to see so much of this
The
shit.
next one, experts disagree whether it even existed or not. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon was described as a huge garden.
Like, I'm
built
overly obsessed when it comes to ancient Greece, ancient Rome, somewhat a little bit of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, and I'm also very obsessed and love watching videos about ancient civilizations and the Americas. Not even
high above
ancient ones,
stone
like ones that are like 500
trees
years
and
old.
Large plants grew high
Even
above
1,000.
ground, and water flowed down from one level to the next. No ruins have been discovered to prove its existence, and to add to the mystery, some authors describe the garden in great detail, while other famous historians who visited Babylon never mentioned the garden. And it turns out that the Hanging Garden of Babylon might not have been in Babylon at all. But first, let's look at what made it so impressive.
Wait, so we don't know where the ruins are? We don't know where it might have been, and we're talking about it and how it looked? I thought we for surely knew where it was. I thought the ruins are there.
Described as a square stone structure built with multiple raised levels. Each terrace had to hold tons of soil and stones without leaking or collapsing. A nearby aqueduct transported water into the garden. When the water reached the garden, some ancient stories claim that a device similar to the Archimedes screw lifted water to each level. The screw worked by capsuling a spiral inside a bronze tube. By rotating the spiral inside, water would be pushed upward to the next level. This would have allowed water to reach the top of the garden, then flow down every terrace, keeping the entire garden alive and also creating a spectacular view. The only problem is that the Archimedes screw wasn't invented until 350 years later. To try to solve the mystery of where the Hanging Gardens was located, we need to ask, who built the gardens? There are 2 theories. Some claim the gardens were built by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II around
Also, where did the water go? Okay, so it pumps it pumps water from the ground, okay? But where does it end up? Did they actually have like a type of sewer back then in Babylon? I don't know, I doubt it. I don't think so.
600 BC. According to the story, he built it for his wife Ametis. She came from a green, mountainous homeland and missed the forests and hills of her old home. The garden was said to be a gift, a way to bring her homeland to the flat landscape of Babylon. No record confirms this, yet the story has survived for more than 2,000 years. The second theory is that the
Yeah, this might be one of those ones where we maybe overestimate how it was put. It probably was amazing and spectacular. But what if it wasn't really like that, and maybe it's just described in an overly spectacular way, just on purpose to display Babylon. I mean, Babylon was amazing and cool and all of this, and I haven't heard a lot. I'm not a historian, right? I'm not an expert in all of this. But maybe it's overplayed, right? Maybe it is.
garden was actually located in the ancient city of Sin, Nineveh in Iraq.
Of Sin?
Nineveh was a bigger and older city compared to Babylon, and the Assyrian king Sennacherib designed the city with advanced water systems.
Yeah.
Inscriptions describe vast gardens, artificial canals, and advanced plumbing. Water was carried more than 50 kilometers from the mountains.
Advanced plumbing, and these days Dubai still doesn't have fucking... They still collect poop with trucks because I don't have a functioning sewer system. Dubai. Meanwhile, these had advanced fucking plumbing.
Through aqueducts.
I don't know,
including a
man.
stone
It's
aqueduct
fucking
that
insane.
still exists today. Some Assyrian sources also describes Nineveh as Old Babylon, and the whole region as Babylonia. Nineveh's
Yeah.
advanced plumbing leads some experts to believe that Nineveh
I wish
is the
I'd see
true
this in real
location
life.
of the Hanging Gardens, while others find it more likely that the garden actually was in Babylon. The author of the book Seven Wonders of the Ancient World, Bettany Hughes, has a different theory. Maybe the title was never meant to be The Hanging Garden of Babylon, but instead The Hanging Gardens of Babylonia. Although the Hanging Garden of Babylon's existence is disputed, the next ancient wonder of the world is well documented, and it was huge. Surrounded only
Oh, it's
by
disputed,
ocean
so me throwing sus was actually made sense.
in all directions, you finally see a light on the horizon. After
Yeah.
days at sea, you're closing in on the largest city in the ancient world, an important
Alexandria.
trading hub connecting ancient Greece to the Nile Valley. This is the city founded by none other than Alexander the Great.
Yep.
The light guiding you safely toward shore is the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Originally called the Pharos, the Lighthouse of Alexandria was massive in size. Compared to a lighthouse in the 21st century, the Pharos was up to 3 times the height. It was one of the tallest man-made structures for centuries, excluding the pyramids. To achieve this height, the lighthouse consisted of 3 levels: a square base, an octagonal middle, and a cylindrical top, crowned with a statue. The statue might have represented Zeus, the king of the Greek gods, or Poseidon, the god of the sea. Inside the lighthouse, historians believe a large mirror was used
Wait.
to reflect the god of the sea.
Yeah, probably Poseidon, just because of... What do you call this? Trident?
Inside the lighthouse, historians believe a large mirror was used to reflect light and guide nearby ships. During the day, the lighthouse reflected sunlight, and by night,
These days, this is like your old average skyscraper.
fire guided ships approaching the harbor. Some stories claim that the lighthouse could be seen from over 50 kilometers away. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was so famous that its name became universal. Pharos
50
became the
kilometers,
word for
really? Modern lighthouses? Like, the average modern lighthouse, how far away can you see it? It has to be more than 50 kilometers, right? It has to be like over 100 kilometers, right? Or if else, I don't... It's just worthless, right? Like, there's modern ships with GPS tracking and shit, and there's satellites in the fucking... in space where, you know, we can use to communicate and all of this, right? Even in the middle of the sea, if you've got the
French,
advanced
Spanish,
technology in your
and
ships.
many other languages. Between the years 900 and 1300, several strong earthquakes hit Alexandria. Piece by piece, the lighthouse collapsed. The stones and ruins were later reused to build a medieval fortress on the same island where the lighthouse once stood.
I mean, this looks cool, but not as cool as the lighthouse.
For over 1500 years, and while we know what happened to the
I
lighthouse,
mean, I'm from Europe. You know how many castles Europe has? It's filled with fucking castles. Like tens of thousands of castles.
historians are not exactly sure what happened to this next wonder. The statue of Zeus was a giant statue of the Greek god seated on a throne. The famous sculptor Phidias created the statue around 435
Never heard of Phidias.
BC in the hometown of the original Olympic Games, Olympia. The statue of Zeus was so tall it almost touched the temple ceiling. Standing around 12 meters, the statue was made from large quantities.
I don't know why I thought the Acropolis was one of the 7 ancient wonders, right? The Acropolis in Greece and Athens. That's what I wasn't expecting this. I didn't even know about this.
Of gold and ivory. Some sources
Plus, I was expecting some ancient wonders from Central or South America for some reason.
a reflecting pool of oil,
Like the
placed in
pyramids,
front of
the
statue,
Mayan pyramids or
making
something.
it appear even taller. The statue was seen as both extremely expensive and beautifully made. For example, the philosopher Epictetus believed one could only die happy after witnessing the statue of Zeus. So how could something so beautiful just disappear? Historians aren't
Was probably destroyed in war,
entirely sure what happened to the statue.
most
One
likely.
theory suggests the statue was destroyed by earthquakes around year
Or that.
522 in Olympia, but no ruins remain to confirm this. However, an 11th century historian claimed Emperor Theodosius I moved the statue from Olympia to Constantinople, the
Oh.
city that would later become modern-day Istanbul. Around year 391, Emperor Theodosius I introduced Christianity, making the statue of the Greek god not welcome in Olympia. Its new home was allegedly in the Palace of Lausos, owned by a high-ranking official and art collector. Later, the statue is believed to have been destroyed in a fire in Constantinople during the 5th century. The statue of Zeus was huge, but this next wonder wasn't just
It's insane the mentality of people those days. Like now Christianity is introduced, so now let's destroy everything that was from our history, related to our ancient gods from before. No, just leave them. Okay, it's a piece of history, like what we do these days. But no, let's destroy everything and start over.
big. It was arguably the largest Greek temple ever built.
Meanwhile, these days everybody's pushing for diversity. Like, come on, man.
Ruins of the Temple of Artemis stand in modern-day Turkey, in the historic city of Ephesus. The temple was constructed entirely of marble. This was more than a place of worship. Temple of Artemis served as a center for religion, banking, and a shelter for
I mean, this is cool and all. It's beautiful, but isn't the Acropolis way bigger and way more impressive? I'm surprised the statue of Zeus or whatever that was mentioned before, and I'm not even seeing the Acropolis.
G's. Kings, cities, and ordinary people.
I mean, it
stored
looked something like
their
this.
money here. It became known as the Bank of Asia, making it an
Of Asia.
influential building before it was tragically destroyed. However, the temple is said to have survived for up to 600 years, and unlike the other wonders, the Temple of Artemis was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times. The temple's exact construction date is unknown, but the first version is believed to have been destroyed by a flood in the 7th century BC. 200 years later, the temple was rebuilt. Its size was about the same as a football field. 6 years later, on the day Alexander the Great was born, a man obsessed with being written into history lit the temple on fire. The Temple of Artemis burned to the ground.
So he just censored his image and he didn't even mention his name. The guy burned the whole temple, so he's written in history. Meanwhile, this guy didn't even mention it in his video. I love what you're doing.
Alexander the Great offered to fund the reconstruction, but the people of Ephesus refused because it was inappropriate for a god to dictate offerings to another god. After Alexander the
That's so fucking dumb. What? What? That's so dumb. Isn't one of the biggest, like, I don't know, and at least in Christianity, I'm not a religious person, but isn't, like, promoted to, like, not promoted, but you know what I mean. Isn't it good to, like, give as much as you can and not expect anything in return? It's like, it is somehow rooted, and it's one of the many values of Christianity, right? So what God giving to another God is bad? Shut the fuck up.
Great
Maybe this isn't
people of
Christianity, I don't
Ephesus
know.
rebuilt the temple with their own funding.
Yeah,
in
there wasn't
323
Christianity. Yeah, that
BC.
did. Yeah, this is 300 BC. No fucking
The
way. I'm
127
done.
columns stacked in 2 rows around the temple.
Also, the attention to detail all around throughout history. In Asia, in the Middle East, in Northern Africa, in all of Europe, even from 300 buildings from just 300 years ago, the amount of detail is insane. Meanwhile, these days we're just building. Well, we're building way more, and there's way more people that want to live comfortably compared to like before. There was way more peasants, let's call them, right, as they were, and they would just do this, and less people would be living like this, right, like in a luxurious way for standards back then. Meanwhile, now we're just just simplicity, just normal curves, just simple lines. That's it. And you know what? I don't mind it. I like it, but I like a mixed city of, some ancient, interesting, or maybe I was gonna say Middle Eastern, anywhere, but it doesn't matter, but from mid-history or whatever, right? Some interesting architecture, and maybe that coupled with some modern buildings all around the city. That's what I like.
Larger
A
design
lot of
measured
European cities are like that.
137
New York is like that. A lot of traditional Dutch architecture. So Boston and so
in
on.
length
Philadelphia
and 69
in the
meters
US.
in width, nearly 4 times the size of Athens' Parthenon.
Oh, this
Pliny
was the
Elder,
Parthenon,
the famous
yeah.
Roman historian, documented the
I was
largest
just calling it the Acropolis all this time. Is it the
version of
same thing?
temple, confirming its size and beauty. The Temple of Artemis must have been an unbelievable sight, but one might wonder how it compared to this next building only 200 kilometers away. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was a towering, richly sculpted marble building in the southwestern part in modern-day Turkey. The mausoleum was built as a tomb for the ruler of Caria and his wife around 350 BC. It combined Greek architecture with a purpose similar to the pyramids of Egypt. The mausoleum stood on a high rectangular platform, positioned on a hill above the city of Halicarnassus. The building is described
This looks like a type of city or a type of town I would go to after I've committed all the atrocious sins in my life, and now I'm going here to like renew myself. This is a type of place, it looks like
as
paradise.
a multi-level structure rising over 40 meters high, with lots of sculptures and decorations on each level. At the bottom was a massive stone base. A wide staircase led up to the platform, guarded by stone lions and statues. On
Yep,
top of the base
stone
stood
lions
the
are
main
everywhere.
body of the tomb, a tall marble block surrounded by rows of columns. Between these columns stood hundreds of statues, turning the building into a gallery of stone figures visible from every side. Above the columns, there was a roof resembling a pyramid. This rooftop set the mausoleum apart from any Greek temple. At the very top stood a colossal chariot, pulled by 4 horses. But what happened to the mausoleum? Between the 1100s and 1400s, earthquakes gradually destroyed the building.
It's always earthquakes, man. Come on.
Some remaining sculptures are now displayed at the British Museum in London. However, the massive marble sarcophagus inside the tomb has never been found. The mausoleum was so influential that the word mausoleum ended up meaning giant and impressive tomb, much like the next wonder, the Colossus of Rhodes.
This looks
After
so
the
fucking
death of
cool.
Alexander the Great, a war started. Alexander's generals turned on each other, and the empire suffered the wars of the successors. In the middle of the war, Rhodes thrived as a merchant city. Perfectly placed between Greece, Egypt, and Asia, it became one of the most important trading hubs in the ancient world, but also an important target for enemies. In 305 BC, a powerful general named Demetrius attacked the city. Rhodes was well protected, but Demetrius brought one of the most terrifying weapons ever built, the Helepolis.
What?
siege
A moving building?
Tower unlike anything else. It stood around 40 meters tall and weighed over
I mean, by today's standards, this just looks like a place where poor people would live.
160 tons, around the same weight as a blue whale.
Still
The
huge, yeah.
attacks went on for almost a year. In the end, the war on Rhodes became too expensive. Demetrius gave up and his army left Rhodes. The people of Rhodes gathered the bronze, iron, and metal from the battlefield. They melted it all and sold it as scraps. The total value came to around 300 talents of silver, an enormous fortune in the ancient world, estimated to be worth millions of dollars in today's money. With this wealth, the people of Rhodes decided to honor the god of the sun, Helios, building a statue like no other, something as grand as the weapon that tried to conquer the city. The greatest sculptor on the island was hired to build the giant statue. His name was Chares of Lindos. Construction began and it lasted for 12
All these ancient people, man, they all have fucking amazing cool ass names.
years. The
Like Demetrius, that's my name. My name is Demir. But it's like the modern Slavic version of it.
statue stood on a massive stone pedestal, and the sculpture is said to be around 32 meters tall. Bronze was used as the statue's skin. To complete the statue,
Looks like gold.
Chares of Lindos had workers build a massive earthen raft.
Also, how would they light up that fire? They would have some kind of a contraption going up there, because you know it rains, there's wind. That fire is gonna be, it's gonna extinguish all the time. It's just gonna, Yeah, you fired it, you light it up today. A few hours later, it's gone.
Unfortunately, the Colossus did not stand for long. In 226 BC, only 56 years after it was finished, a powerful earthquake struck Rhodes. The statue snapped at the knees and collapsed. Surprisingly, the people of Rhodes did not.
Yeah, this part of the Mediterranean Sea, I guess it's all over the Mediterranean, but this part of the Mediterranean Sea, because I live nearby, I'm on the Balkans, right? I live in the Balkans and the southeastern part of Europe. We get a lot of earthquakes very regularly, but nothing really that destructive, you know? Looks like all of these weren't really that durable compared to, you know, a lot of the ones that we have right now in ancient Greece in modern Greece and Turkey. Like, again, the Acropolis. I'm still flabbergasted why the Acropolis or the ancient library isn't here.
Not rebuild the statue.
Of
The
Alexandria.
broken pieces were left on the ground, and even in ruins, the Colossus stayed famous. People continued to visit the site for over 800 years, making the ruins of the Colossus a tourist attraction itself. So, why isn't
I wish it was still there.
anything left in Rhodes today? In year 653, Rhodes was captured by Arab forces. What remained of the Colossus was melted and sold. According to the story, the metal was carried away by over 900 camels, leaving the city of Rhodes with only descriptions of the legendary statue.
Yeah, every time I think of moving huge stuff in the ancient world, which, you know, now we do with planes, with cargo ships and so on, right? I just imagine pain and struggling and suffering, like the heat, the rain, the mountains. Yeah, I'm lucky I wasn't born in that time.
With
I would
no
have just died in one day.
ruins left to study, a lot of creative freedom painted the picture of the Colossus of Rhodes. The Colossus is often depicted standing with legs apart, ships sailing beneath it. But experts argue this would not have been structurally possible at the time. The statue is far more likely standing beside the harbour, but still so large and impressive that sailors might have
Yeah, I've heard different theories. Maybe it wasn't that big, maybe it wasn't like at the entrance of the harbor and so on.
described it as if they were sailing beneath it. If you found this video interesting,
Yeah,
I think
interesting.
you'll enjoy my video about
Yeah,
the
tell me what you
final
guys
hours
think
of
in the comments. Like, again, I was expecting some stuff from, you know, the Americas, but I guess I wouldn't be as ancient because it's like after, the BC era. But yeah, Lost in Time. Tell me what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel. Not that he needs promoting from me. But yeah, have a nice day.